All right, welcome back. This is Jamie Oikle from runningrestaurants.com, where we bring you the tips, tools, and techniques you need to make your restaurant more profitable and successful. I've got a great one-question episode for you today with Trevor Bernacchi of BevSpot. Here we go. Trevor, hiring bar staff can be, haphazard, right? So what are some tips you'd share to make the interview process more strategic, more effective? What do you think?
Yeah, of course. This is really the first place that you're going to have the opportunity to craft that winning culture for your bar team. So really important to be vetting people the right way during that interview process. And there's so many questions you could probably ask, and those articles I'm sure list in the tens of thousands if you do a Google search. But through my years in the F&B industry and just even talking with hiring managers over the years, there's a few kind of important questions that keep popping up over and over again that I've found people have a lot of success with. First off, ask them how they're actually going to cut off a guest, right? It's a really sensitive question, and if you ask a dozen bartenders, you're probably going to get 13 different answers. But generally, you're looking for some variation on 3 different themes. So the first of which is appealing to the guest's friends, really unruly customers, intoxicated customers. They're more likely to listen to their friends than a bartender, I've found. So if you can appeal to them, generally they're going to be good enough to help you out. They don't want to be embarrassed in public either. Second, just space out those drinks, right? Get plenty of water, space out the drinks, and it's going to go against everything in your natural instincts working in hospitality, but kind of ignore that patron, like basically as best you can. And under the pretense that you're maybe just a little bit too busy to help them out at that time, kind of stay out of their mind. They won't keep hounding you for more drinks. And then, of course, third is just that really direct and honest approach, right? Honest but respectable. And some mention of those should probably be touched on in the interview. After that, a lot of people ask, how would you make a basic drink? Not something like a gin and tonic or a vodka soda where the name is actually in the title, but pick a really well-known, maybe classic drink with a few basic ingredients, like an old-fashioned, right? Do they add their own personal flair to the recipe? Do they name specific brands that they like to use? Do they even know the recipe, first of all? If they describe something that you probably would put on the menu yourself, it's going to be a good answer, even if it doesn't match exactly your house specs at that moment in time. And then the last one is one that I learned a hard lesson with before. It's, what do you know about our menu? Or what do you know about our bar, or whatever venue you might be kind of running? And like I said, it can throw applicants for a bit of a loop, including myself. And it really reveals whether or not they've researched where you work and what any kind of preconceived notions they might have going into the interview. And really whether or not the answer is actually correct, or whatever the correct answer might be. You're going to find out whether they admit that they know or not. And then if they'll offer to kind of learn and start to pick up the slack there and kind of do a little bit more research on their own. So as far as questions go, those are generally the ones I've seen that help out the most. But something else important is that it's not always the answers to these questions that matters. A lot of this is going to be body language. You're really going to be kind of a cold reader. You're meeting this person for the first time. So watch how they're acting. Are they squirming around? Are they hesitating in any kind of speech and any kind of pattern like that? When you're asking these difficult questions, do they avoid eye contact, or do they just kind of dive headlong into an answer confidently? And it's more likely that the confident person in that situation is going to be better able to handle the actual real difficult situation or guest in real time. And honestly, you just want to make sure they can actually carry on a conversation and keep people engaged and entertained while they're staying focused on the task at hand too.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of good stuff right there, Trevor. I appreciate that. And I want to go back to a word you mentioned real early on in your answer, and that was culture. And I like the questions you have there. And it's a fascinating process when you interview people, looking for those tips and those clues. What else would you say when you're trying to pull out a culture fit? What are maybe a couple other tidbits you could look at? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all going to start from the top when you're forming culture. So really, you want to decide before you're even interviewing people exactly what kind of team you're trying to build. What kind of people do you want to surround yourself with, right? So really pay attention to their actions. If there's someone who's just not kind of warming up to you and kind of how you naturally interact with people, it stands to reason they might not be the best kind of culture fit personality-wise. So you want to see, are they free and easy when they're around you? Are they kind of closed off? Really, volumes can be spoken in these first interactions, even just how they prepared for it, general appearance. You never want to judge a book by its cover necessarily, but how someone presents themselves during an interview actually says a lot about them and says a lot about their personality and whether or not they'd actually be a good fit for your team.
It does. It does. It does. So a lot of great tips there. It's so crucial to have the right people on your team. We've talked on our site, and of course you can see it elsewhere. The power of not having the right people and then wasting time, wasting money, wasting resources. So good stuff there from Trevor. Trevor, how can folks learn more about BevSpot? Where can they go?
Absolutely. So head on over to bevspot.com. So BEVSPOT.com. Amazing blog resources there. Right on the main page, you can actually schedule a chat with one of our team members, quick 15-minute dedicated conversation. You learn more about the software, learn more about our website, and really just see how it could actually help you run a better bar.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate that. So, folks, that was Trevor Bernacchi from BevSpot. You can find all about how they help bars and restaurants improve their beverage costs on the web at www.bevspot.com. And for more great restaurant marketing resources, including operations, tips, service, tech, and more, follow us here at runningrestaurants.com. We'll see you next time. Thanks.